Hey everybody, welcome to Steel City Fandom, Talkin Anime, Episode 3, One Piece, Sky Island Saga. It's me, Don, Justin's here.
Hello.
3 episodes into Talkin Anime because someone's watching it so fucking fast.
Well, Sky Island Saga did go really, really fast.
It did. It went really fast. Yeah, it wasn't as long. When we put out the last episode of Talkin Anime?
Last week.
5 days ago, yeah. And I sat on it for a couple days too. How long did it take you to finish this saga?
5 days.
That was it. It took me, when I did it, took me 24 days. You blew through this thing. Like, I remember we talked and you were like, all right, I'm starting it. And then it was just like, oh, this guy's cool. And I was like, wait a minute. How the hell did you see this guy? Like, what are you, 25, 30 episodes into it already? I mean, it was 69 episodes. You crushed it.
Yeah. The first day I only watched like 2 or 3. I actually didn't watch any on Thursday last week. And then I watched a couple episodes Friday night. I don't think I really watched anything Saturday. And then Sunday I was like doing some cleaning out in the living room, and then I was putting together some patio furniture, and I just had it on all day. And I don't even remember how many episodes I killed on Sunday. And then Monday I was doing just a bunch of monotonous copy paste from spreadsheet into application literally all day. So I had it on in the background, watched it all day Monday, watched it most of the day Tuesday, and then finished it up on Wednesday night.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was insane. It was a lot.
Yeah, you killed it. You left it there lying.
It was good. I really liked it.
Yeah, you took to this one pretty good.
There was some stuff, again, there was a few things that were a little long-winded, but
yeah. Well, I mean, when you started this one, it starts with that Goat Island stuff. I mean, it starts right off where you realize that Robin's on their crew now.
Yes.
She tagged along. Everyone was a little leery of her, but then she like brought Nami some gold, and then they're all like, Nami's like, yeah, I love her. You know, everyone was just fine with her then. Just accepts her as a crew member. No harm, no foul, no nothing. Except for Zora. I don't think he really trusts her just yet at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, he was still a little leery. And you could see every 3 or 4 episodes, you could see that kind of receding a little bit, and he trusted her a little bit more. But Zoro, I can tell Zoro is going to be one of those characters that just kind of like, well, that's the life of the pirate. You know, people come, people go. You know, if somebody leaves, he's just kind of like, that's the way it is. It's the life of the pirate.
Yeah.
So I don't know. At this point, I don't know that Zoro's ever gonna really trust everyone, even Luffy. Like, he's loyal and he's gonna be their friend, but if it comes down to it, he's just kind of like, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's kind of how he is, but he's loyal.
Oh yeah.
So this thing starts off with Robin, and they do that Goat Island thing with that weird fucking old guy with the goats and all that, right?
Zenny the pirate.
Like, who's dying and all that stuff. That's just kind of like a real small stuff. This is just sort of get you acclimated to Robin being there. They always do these little, like, a little downtime. They go into that Reluca Island stuff.
Yep.
I forget what that was. That's been a
That's
while now.
that's the um
The
uh
mist
the
and the pot
mist and
and the
the
little kids and all that. Yeah,
yes, yeah, and
yeah,
the uh the pirate captain that ended up being the mayor of the town because you know everybody else went, or the kids went into the mist and he was able to get out, um
yeah.
but the kids, like, once you're in the mist you don't age. um
There's so many of these little in between things. I start to forget what the hell's even going on.
yeah, it's
Um,
funny. I'm walking through the fandom wiki right now, and both of these first two arcs are actually labeled as filler.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're total filler. But I said this before in the last one. I don't really consider. I think there's a big difference in One Piece with filler and downtime. We're like filler. When you get to a Boss Luffy episode, you're going to understand true filler. It has
Okay.
nothing to do with it at all. Luffy
Okay.
running around as a samurai and like living in a town owning a restaurant. You're like, what happened? Like when I hit it, it made me think like something happened. Did I click on the wrong episode? Did I miss something? Until I realized it's like really true filler.
Okay.
Um, so it's really, really, really different. They called them special episodes, but they're filler. Where I think these things like Goat Island, Rulkala Island, or whatever it was, I feel like those are just a little bit of downtime for them, where they're not off on another huge adventure. They're just kind of,
They're not facing somebody super super
yeah.
powerful.
These are people we run into. It's not going to be 150 episodes to resolve this. We're,
Yeah.
we're going to wrap this up in a couple. And yeah, you could technically get away with saying that it doesn't um, count towards anything. Like nothing can and happens in it. But like there's still like relationships that are built in there, and like
Yeah.
they learn things, they learn from it. I don't know. Those for me are real easy to watch. You get through those real fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead, when you're like, oh, I gotta listen, that's the hell's going on now. Um. So then finally, you
Get
get
into the
to
Jaya.
Jaya. Um. This is where you meet that cricket dude, right?
Yes. The Who is the many generation descendant of uh
Nolan.
Nolan. Thank you. I was trying to think it was
Yeah.
started with an H. Who found this, strange island with a city of gold,
Yes.
and he left. He went back to tell his king, and when he comes back, the island's gone. Doesn't know what happens, and he and his family for generations to come are just known as liars and
Yeah.
just not trustworthy people. Um,
I like the
and
way this started, where they're on the ocean, they're going to the island, and then a boat falls from the sky,
yes,
and the log post starts pointing up.
yep. And then they see the big shadows.
Yeah, the big shadows, all that stuff. So it was a different twist for me, where I'm like, what do you mean you got to go up? Like, how the hell are you gonna go in the sky? It's
Yeah,
really
I was
straight.
trying to figure that out as well.
Yeah. And all the Jaya stuff, a lot of things happen here. I mean, um Blackbeard.
Yeah, which at first you don't even know it's Blackbeard, but it's later revealed to be Blackbeard.
Yes.
Um,
Do you know Blackbeard's full name yet? Have they told you that?
no. Again, I have a little spoiler, so I know like Teach is part of it.
Yeah. His
Um,
first name's Marshall.
okay.
But
But no,
they're
I haven't gotten like any kind of real story behind him yet, other than now I know he's Blackbeard. He's the one that Ace is after.
yeah.
Um,
And I think
so
they maybe have showed it, maybe you just didn't see it, but he also has a D in his name.
oh, okay.
He's Marshall D Teach,
Okay.
which Blackbeard's going to be a big deal. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
people with D's. the Will of D and all the D stuff. So Marshall D. Teach. Teach is he's a big player.
Okay.
I think you meet Whitebeard,
Yeah, get
all
to
hooked
see
up to
Whitebeard for the first time.
his meds and all that other
Um,
stuff. He's massive, as you can see.
oh my God, is he like part giant? Because there were a couple guys I met in this next saga that I've started that were labeled as part giant, and they were fucking huge too.
So
But
you do have giants, and then there's just people that are fucking huge, and they don't really say, "Oh, he's part giant." They never say why Whitebeard is so goddamn tall. He's just big, and like
okay,
the Navy has guys that work for them that are just big, and then the Navy has giants that work for them, where you know it's a giant because it's like they're as big as those guys they met on that island with the two giants that fought each other.
yeah,
But they have some people that are just huge, and he's one of them. We're like, when you're around him, you're like, holy shit, Whitebeard's big, you know.
yeah,
When you
yeah.
get a reputation of being like the most dangerous man on the planet and like the king of the seas, he's
I
got a
think I
lot.
I think they actually labeled that was so this arc. Some new things started on the Netflix stuff where a character would come on screen and they would actually give you a little like
Yes,
sub note of who he was,
yes,
and
right.
they said most strongest man in the world or something like
Strongest
that.
man in the world. Yeah, he's pretty damn powerful. They have that's like his call to arms is you don't want to piss off the strongest man in the ocean. You know, like that's
Okay.
his thing. You also met Bartholomew Kuma for the first time.
Yep.
Kuma's a seven warlord. He's another gigantic person with like curly hair, little paws all over him. Kuma's a big dude. I really like Kuma a lot. You'll get a lot of interesting things with Kuma, but
Okay.
he's very key. You'll enjoy him. I like him a lot. And then you met Doflamingo,
Yes.
which is the
Uh.
main antagonist of what I'm watching right now. So
Okay. Don Quixote del Flamingo.
you know the Don Quixote pirates. Uh, Dolphy, as a lot of people call him, is really great. I mean, you're gonna really enjoy when you get to see just how evil this dude is and a lot of the stuff he does.
Well, I
Um,
can already tell he's a badass. It's just a few of the things
yeah,
I've seen so far.
yes, and he had Bellamy working for him, and those assholes. You get to meet all those guys. You see how he's kind of like con- controlling Bellamy and his guys to do their thing, and they beat up Cricket. This one's kind of for me like the thing I like the most about this is I don't know if you remember when they showed you some of the flashbacks with Shanks, where Shanks kind of taught Luffy, um, don't lose your cool over people that are beneath you. Like it's not worth it. Like
Yeah.
there's a flashback scene where like these guys come in a bar and like wreck the bar that Shanks is in, and Shanks just doesn't even care. He like buys him a beer and they're like, why don't you kill those guys, Shanks? He's like, because they're beneath me. Like, it's not worth it. So you get to see that play out when him and Zoro are in that bar and Bellamy's just, and his guys are kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah, and they're not fighting back. They're not doing anything. Nami doesn't understand what's going on.
Can't understand what's going on. They kind of leave. But then once they find out that Bellamy and his guys fuck up Cricket, then he's like, I'll be back in 3 hours.
And he literally takes it. It proves that he was beneath him because he takes him down in one punch.
Oh, yeah. Totally wrecks Bellamy, which then leads to, you know, Doflamingo having Bellamy killed. And
Which was brutal.
yes, yes. He's a brutal dude. Then he just sort of walked away with his flamingo feathers and all his little dress shoes that he wears.
The
Um,
feather boa jacket.
so it's all real good. I mean, the all the stuff with like that I thought with Nolan that they set up in this Jaya arc, like his family's a liar. They do all this stuff with Nolan. The half castle, you know, that he lives in. You learn all this stuff.
Cricket diving for the gold every day trying to find the
Yeah,
um because they think it sunk into the ocean.
yeah. They don't realize where it went. And then they get the upstream. You see the White Sea. You get into the Skypiea arc. I really like the White Sea part. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
You can ride those like jet skis and stuff on it, but you can't really swim in it. Like it's an odd thing. You meet that what was his name? Godfell, riding his like bird horse.
Yeah.
Um, so that part's good. I really enjoy the when they start getting into more Skypiea, when you start realizing that it's just the island of Jaya and half of it got shot into the air, and then like that's why it's unlike any other Sky Island. It has like green and dirt and trees, where the other parts are like all white clouds and Sky Islands.
Yeah.
What do they call it? The Upper Green or something like that.
The upper lawn, and
The
it's
upper the upper
the
yard.
dirt they call it the Verth,
Earth. Yeah.
which I thought is funny because it's just of Earth.
Yeah. Earth. And then the bad guy, God Eneru, is just looking for the endless Earth.
Yes, which we find out is the fucking moon.
It's
So
the moon.
he's just a moron.
He is a moron. It's the endless Verth. There's no water, no trees, just Verth. So it's a different. This one was really different. Like I like the way I like the when you finally see the story about Nolan and what a good guy he was. That like he befriended the leader of Jaya of that island, and
Yeah,
and
the
they were
Shenandoahs.
the Shenandoahs, all that stuff that he did. He promised to come back, but then the bad guys found out come back and all that stuff. He was a liar. Like everything. That story I thought was really neat. The way they set up that this guy wasn't a liar. He was just like one of the nicest guys on the planet.
Yeah.
And he got
Yep.
like killed for it.
We get kind of a new power that we haven't seen before. What is it? Mantra, where they can hear really well.
It's like situational awareness. It's like, you know what it is? It's almost like spider sense.
Okay.
It's predictability of like what your move's going to be. So if you have that, which it gets turned into something else later on, which you'll get into it probably in the next arc or the one after that. But yeah, it really focuses on that power and how like, you see the beginning of it with some of those guys that work for Eneru, how like it almost makes them hard to beat, and they got to come up with new ways to beat them.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
What do you think of God Eneru or Enel or whatever the hell he's called?
His ears were disgusting.
His ears were really weird, weren't they?
Basically, so for those of you listening, if you're not watching the show, you know how some people like gauge their earlobes and they'll just continue to put the bigger and bigger plug in there to stretch their earlobes way out. Well, Eneru's ears looked like he put like a 30-pound weight on his earlobe and just stretched it down to about his middle of his stomach on both sides. So his ears, like, it was gross.
I don't know why you would do that to yourself. And not only was that gross, but then he had those drums that were like in his back.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
He's a weird guy.
He was powerful though. His devil fruit, what was it, the Thunder, something like that.
Yeah, they call it the Goro Goro, which stands for Rumble Rumble.
Rumble. But yeah, he basically was living lightning.
Yeah, he was the living lightning from the Avengers.
Which is crazy because you couldn't hurt him. I mean, there was a couple scenes where somebody cut him in half and he just kind of laughs it off and goes
I think
back
Wiper
together.
cut him in half, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah, I think it was Wiper.
Oh, good old Wiper.
Yeah, and like he was a cool ass character with a dumb name.
Yeah, he should have just been Viper.
Every time the little girl, Issa, every time she said his name, all I could think about was Dora the Explorer. And Swiper, no swiping.
Yeah, Swiper, no swiping. I like this guy. The other thing that was really silly up there was the Marines that would crawl on the ground.
Oh, yeah. The white berets.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, they were weird.
Tired.
But like the things they introduced, like the way those guys, like Wiper and his guys, are flying on those little things that they fly on,
Yeah,
and
they have
the
like
imp.
the rocket skates.
Yeah, the rocket skates that like skate across the water. I love the impact dials that they used.
Well, all the different dials were cool.
Yeah, all the different dials, all that stuff. Like it's a neat set of weaponry and skills that they have. Um, I'd like to see those guys again. I thought they were cool.
Yeah, they were definitely they were cool.
So the key thing then happens in this is, everyone's fighting Enaru, and I kind of like was wondering how you were going to put that together. Where I thought when they introduced this guy, I thought, how the fuck is anybody going to beat this guy? Like, no one can hit him. You can't touch him with a sword. You can't hit him at all. And like when you're early on in this show, you really don't live in that One Piece power set world where like you were surprised where like Luffy just wet his hands and he could hit Crocodile.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's how it works out. So I thought to myself, like, is he gonna have to use water to like beat this guy? Like water again? Like, is that the answer for everything? Is what? Because ocean water does, and sea prism stone and things like that do hurt devil fruit users. So I thought, like, well, they're gonna have to get some sort of like something related to that because this guy, like, you can't even hurt him. And
Yeah.
then, I was so annoyed at Luffy inside that snake for so long.
Oh yeah, the big ass snake. Yeah.
And then like right when like getting towards the end, it kind of like hit me one night watching. I shut it off, and I wasn't gonna watch the next episode. And I was like, oh wait a minute. I'm like, they're purposely keeping Luffy away from this fight because he's rubber and he's insulated from lightning. Like the light literally went off in my head, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. To like, the only person that could probably stand toe to toe with Enaru is freaking Luffy.
Yeah.
So they worked it out good, and then when he finally makes his appearance, it's good because Enaru blasts the shit out of him. He's just kind of standing there like,
Yeah,
okay,
he's like, whatever. Yeah, that was a cool scene when he hits him with the that lightning bomb thing for the first time, and he just kind of laughs it off. You're just like, oh boy. And Enaru thinks the same thing. Like the look on his face when like the smoke clears and Luffy's just standing there.
and then he takes that punch to the gut, and
yeah,
and he's really like rocked. That was good, and typical.
I will say that's again one of the things that I don't. It's not. I guess is annoying is the least thing. Like it doesn't make me mad, but like every time that happens in one of those fights, I'm just like, fucking finish it, Luffy. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like, a lot of times we're talking.
Like the first time he like knocks him out, I'm like, there are still 6 episodes left of this arc. Why does this fight take so goddamn long?
And that's why, because instead of one punch to the gut and then getting up on him and just beating his ass till he's like, unconscious, instead of just stand there, they have to stand there and be like, and that's typical anime. I mean,
oh yeah, it is.
Stand there and look at it so the other guy can recover and then launch a counter attack that you have to defend. They never let that go ever. That they did it all the time.
Yeah, and that's something I just have to accept as I watch more anime. Because you're right, it's a trope in all animes.
Yeah, because it's, hey, look, I can hit you, and then it's, oh, you hit me? Well, now I'm gonna do this. Oh shit, I can't beat that. I'm gonna have to escalate to do this, and then they just keep going up until finally, they get that. Yeah, but a lot of times I'm like, God, are they? Let me just say it this way: I'm not gonna name any arc or anybody, but from what I understand, and I'm not there yet, this current arc, there's people that have said, and I don't know if this is true or not, that he's been fighting the main villain here for like 70 episodes. That's how long they've been fighting.
Oh my god.
Because they're like battling, and then it's like, well, then they go into the history of this guy, and that's 20 episodes, and they come back and it's a history of another person. They do that shit a lot. They do that a lot. Like right now, where I have Luffy, I'm about 30 episodes left of Dressrosa, and Luffy and Dolphy have been fighting for a while, and now we went back 16 years ago to tell his history, and I'm like, oh god, like it's a lot. But I also enjoy the history. Like that's what I liked about Skypiea. I enjoyed that Nolan bit.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, this is cool. So that's just kind of how they do. They split it up. I'm like, oh, you enjoying this fight? You ready to see the ending? No. You gotta watch this first. And you're like, oh god, okay. So yeah, the end fight I thought was cool. I mean, I don't know how Luffy's arm didn't rip apart that giant gold ball that he was swinging around, but I like the way he used it at the end to kind of like propel it and then rocket himself and
yeah.
And then Eneru just flies off to the moon.
Has he come back yet where you're at?
No, you haven't seen hide or hair of him.
I wonder if he comes back.
I don't know. I don't think there's any reason for him to come back. I think if they did anything, what I would like to see them do, and I don't know if they'll do this, is I would like to see wherever he went off to, he ended up killing himself, like he died somehow. You know, like he fucked up, died something, ended up flying into the sun or something, and then that rumble fruit, which is a powerful fruit, I would like to see it get thrown back, because once you die, your fruit's back out there again.
Okay.
So, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it'd be great if Nami got it, since she's all into the weather and the staff and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah. I'd like to see someone else get it and do something with it,
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because it's up there. I mean, other than Luffy fighting him, because Luffy's rubber, he would wipe the floor with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But that lightning's so powerful.
I think there are a lot of people I think that could fight him to like a stalemate. Like I don't think the lightning would affect Smoker, but I don't think Smoker could do anything to him.
Yeah, you couldn't hurt him.
I would be willing. I kind of wonder how. Folks that are listening, this is a new character that I just met in this next saga that I'm wondering how Admiral Aokiji could like that freezing power.
Yeah. Well, you will see in about 2 more arcs ways around powers like this.
Okay. All right, cool.
You learned mantra. So just hang in there for post mantra type stuff.
All right.
So yeah, I really enjoyed the end then where they are going to give them all that gold and those idiots are stealing what they think is a piece of gold. And then meanwhile, they were going to give them all the gold, but they're just so dumb. Like, I love how
they thought it was a giant cannon because they wrapped it up.
Yeah.
It was the one arm, the one side
pillar
post for the pillar for the gold for the golden bell.
Yeah, the golden bell. But that's just their like thing is like, they saved everybody. They're heroes. Everyone loves them. Everything's good. And then they're like, oh, we got to get out of here. We're pirates. They probably want to kill us now. So they're just trying to leave. And Robin doesn't say shit.
Yeah, she just kind of lets it go.
Just lets it go, like laughs, like, you dummies. You could have had a whole giant fucking. I don't know where they would have put that huge ass pillar.
It wouldn't. That thing would have sunk the Mary.
Yeah, it would have sunk the Mary. So yeah, it was pretty silly. Good vindication for Cricket. When he finally realizes, when Luffy rings the bell.
Yep.
And he realizes what's happening, that his family are not liars. They were right. And yeah, it's a short one. It's a short saga, but it's lots of fun. It's action packed. Lots of stuff happens in it. I really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorites.
It was good. I like, Usopp took a bunch of the different dials that do all sorts of different things. So they got to use those during the next little arc, the G8,
Yeah,
where they
when
were
they land. Yeah.
when they land in that military base. And then there's some more stuff that happens with them going forward now. But yeah, the dials are cool that he got those. You find out pretty quickly in the start of the next saga. Well, not pretty quickly. It's actually it's a little bit into it, but you find out how much the gold they did take from them is worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it was not an insignificant amount.
Yeah.
um, so yeah,
The G8 stuff was just sort of like downtime stuff again, but it was still
yeah,
had some action to it with the Marine. It's always the Marines. I mean, like the minute they like leave the Marines, like they get away, they get back, the Marines are back again. They're always on their ass.
yeah. But yeah, that was kind of a fun arc. You got um Sanji cooking for all of for the Marine base, and them all
Is
loving his
that when
food.
he cooks for that female chef?
Yes,
And he does
Jessica.
that, Jessica. Isn't that where he takes like all the stuff that they're wasting and
Yep,
makes a
it
whole
makes like a
delicious dinner?
gourmet. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I like when
Like the
Sanji
fish
cooks.
heads and the guts, and he makes them into like fish meatballs,
Yeah, fish balls and all this other stuff.
and the fact that that Jessica the cook was the wife of like the base commander, and she
Yeah,
was always on him about eating his vegetables, and he's just like, "Yes, honey, I love them. They're wonderful."
yeah. It's a lot of silly stuff in there.
There is, but it was good. It was I even I enjoyed this. Again, there was a little bit of you know, all right, guys, you can escape now. Oh no, we have to go back. Like there was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah,
But again, that's the whole same thing with not finishing your opponent after you knock them down the first time.
yeah.
You know,
Well, I
there
mean, it didn't you noticed that even on the flip side of that, I mean, Crocodile could have killed Luffy multiple times
oh yeah, and just
and
kind of
kept
walked away
and
and
just kind of like, you're done, straw hat. Then like, oh, he's gonna be back. I
yep.
mean, Christ, Eneru probably could have sunk that whole Sky Island with some of those laser blasts that he does.
Yeah, those lightning laser blasts were pretty intense. And he
Yeah,
kills a bunch of people.
he does. He does some killing. They do One Piece for sure. Sometimes does like you think someone's dead and they're like, oh, but they're okay. They woke up. Like I thought
Yeah.
Wiper died 5 times. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Well,
I,
in
he- I thought
the
Sanji died for sure, and Zoro when they took some of those blasts.
yeah, and then the old guy, that they met the first guy they come in contact with in Skypiea.
Yeah,
Um
daughter.
the daughter and the old guy, or her father, and he takes basically one of those direct blasts, and he
Right,
wakes up
yeah, right to
later.
him. Yeah. And then sometimes it's like the villains will kill people, and I'm like, oh, they're really dead. I think when they show you their eyes go like white and like X'd out, that like they're dead, but sometimes they show their eyes go like plain and they're knocked out. I don't know. There's been a couple of those where I'm like, oh, that guy's gone for sure. Oh no, he's still all right. Like, how's that guy alive?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Sky Island. Good times. Um,
And then the
you
next
notice at this point that the Mary's taking a lot of damage.
oh yeah, she's the poor girl is getting beat to shit.
Yeah, she's been getting messed up. So she's pretty trashed, and they need a shipwright.
Yep. So that's their next goal, is to take after leaving G8 with their treasure, is they're headed to find their shipwright.
Yes, turn that gold into berries.
Yeah, which I still don't understand the currency.
Yeah, no one does. Berries and everything else that they use. You just kind of go with it.
Yep.
But yeah, it was good. It was fun. So you're moving in now to the next arc, which we'll do the next time on the show, which is Water 7. Lots of different things happening to here. It starts off with a lot of filler nonsense that we'll talk a little bit about it, but not a lot about it, and then get to the good stuff. Enos Lobby is some peak ass fiction though, so good things to look forward to. All right, well, thanks for this. A short one for you today. Thanks for listening. Hope you're enjoying these because we enjoy talking about it. Comment below anything you want to talk us to cover more or go over, and stay on this journey with us. We're moving along down the grand line.
One of these days I'll catch you.
You will. You've shortened the gap. I mean,
yeah,
you've closed that gap. You're within like what?
Less than 500 now.
Less than 500, yeah.
I'm just starting 239.
I had a good weekend because I worked all Friday night till 6 a.m. So I watched like 15 episodes that night or something like that, And then today I was cooking and cleaning in the kitchen, and I must have gone through 8. So like I made some advancements. I think I knocked off 20 episodes in 2 days.
All right.
I was like, I gained some room here. I got comfortable.
Yeah, but I took like a 14 days less to do this last one.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you're dangerous. You're dangerous. If you start not liking some things, you might slow down,
Maybe. We'll see.
All right.
And a lot of it depends on work schedules.
Yeah,
if I'm busy, I can't watch during the day. So
when we have to do real work.
Yeah.
So annoying. All right. Sounds good. We will talk to everyone later.
Thanks, everyone.